Hi, welcome to another episode here on Creepy with Coffee. I'm Kim, your storyteller. Before we start, I would like to wish every couple that is out there, I do not know whether you are celebrating it or not, but happy Valentine's Day. Well, today's story is about, have you ever lived with somebody, a roommate or a housemate, and no matter how normal they seem, it's just something about them. It seems like they are never really alone. Well, the person who wrote this story says, I have my roommate and I'll never forget that evening. Like usual, before we start, if you have yet to do so, please do like, subscribe, and comment some nice words down below. Now, let's get on to the story.
This is Creepy with Coffee.
My roommate was never alone. His name was Afiq. I'm sure this is not his real name. We entered the same semester, moved into the dorm at the same time. From the outside, he was just completely normal, friendly, talkative, always cracking jokes. Nothing about him seemed strange. At least, not at first. But I noticed something. Afiq had a routine that he never skipped. No matter what, every single night before bed, he would place a handful of uncooked rice on his study desk, open the window, even it was pouring rain or a raging storm outside. And before he goes to sleep, he would whisper softly, almost to himself, saying, "Don't disturb me, I am going to sleep." So, at first, I didn't question it. Well, people have their quirks, right? As long as it didn't bother me, I had no reason to interfere. But then came that night. The night everything changed. I had exam the next morning, so I decided to stay up late to study. Afiq had already gone to bed. He was snoring lightly, curled up under his blanket. Meanwhile, I was sitting at my desk, scrolling through my iPad, earphones in, listening to some lo-fi beats to keep my focus. Everything was normal, like usual, until I saw it. Remember the uncooked rice that Afiq usually placed every night on the table? The rice, that night, I saw it was moving. At first, I thought I imagined it. Maybe I was just exhausted. Maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. But then I focused and I saw it clearly. The grains weren't just shifting randomly. They were being picked up one by one, as if there were invisible fingers were collecting them carefully. My breath hitched. I blinked, rubbed my eyes. No, I wasn't hallucinating. The rice was actually disappearing from the table. I froze, my body tense. Slowly, I turned to look at Afiq. Still asleep. His face was peaceful, somewhat, like nothing was wrong. I turned back to his desk, and that's when I saw it. Tiny fingerprints, thin, delicate marks on the wooden surface, like a small child had been playing with the rice. The air in the room suddenly felt heavier, colder, and then I heard it, a whisper, soft, raspy, right next to my ear. "What are you looking at?" The chill ran down my spine. I whipped my head towards the window. The wind was howling outside. The trees swayed violently, but the curtain, it wasn't moving. I swear to God, something was inside the room with me. I wanted to wake Afiq up, shake him, scream. But this time, I couldn't move. My hands felt like they were glued to the desk. My legs were cemented to the floor, and then I saw it again. At the foot of Afiq's bed, a small figure crouched low, hunched over, completely still. It was somewhat covered in black fur, eyes glowing red, its mouth twisted with a wide, eerie grin. It was picking up the last few grains of rice slowly, deliberately, while staring straight at me. I wanted to scream, I wanted to run, but my body just wouldn't respond. Then the thing smiled even wider. As if it knew I could see it, as if it enjoyed watching me freeze in horror. That was the last straw. I threw my iPad aside, yanked my blanket over my head and squeezed my eyes shut. I started to pray under my breath, my heart racing so fast I thought it could explode. But even with my eyes closed, I felt that watching me, grinning, lingering. Then suddenly, bang! The bedroom door shook violently like something had just sprinted out. I gasped for air, feeling the weight in the room lift. My muscles loosened. I could finally move again. I didn't dare to peek out from under my blanket. I just lay there, shaking, waiting for morning. And the next morning, the moment I saw sunlight seeping through the window, I bolted out of my bed. Afiq was already awake, sitting on his desk, casually scrolling through his phone. Like nothing happened. I hesitated, and then I took a deep breath. I said, "Bro, do you own a pet?" Afiq slowly turned his head towards me and smiled. "Oh, you saw it, did you?" My stomach dropped. I nodded. Afiq exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. Well, don't worry," he said. Voice was calm, too calm. Well, that thing was just watching over me. As long as you don't bother it, it won't bother you. Well, I had no words. I just stared at him, my body still trembling from last night. Well, Afiq went back to his phone, completely unbothered, and that's when I realized it is something that belongs to Afiq. And whatever that thing is, it had always been with him, and I didn't ask more questions. I didn't want to know. But from that night onward, I never studied in the room alone again. So that is the story for today. Well, if you are Afiq's roommate and something like this happened to you, would you still stay in the same room with Afiq? Let me know down in the comment section. Once again, if you have yet to do so, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would help this channel a lot. So, thank you very much. Until the next episode, this is Creepy with Coffee.